Ahora.
When time shrivels, when days play ahead like gold medals, when the rhythm of your lover's accomplishments slowly abate. When does your respirator turn down? 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 Double Netflix. Respirator, when does it turn down? Your respirator, when was it turned on?
They're in.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Alright. Let's dance. Take off your pants. Move around. Your butt is round. Round like a pumpkin. Want to do the? Want to beat it and slap? Oh.
Oh.
Oh, hi there. It is that time of the year where the moon is bright and the air is warm and the leaf cast is on. It's a Tuesday night. Welcome. I am Brother Dan. I'm Ryan's brother Dan. Ryan will be here intermittently. He is dealing with stuff, but I am here and I have some friends backstage here. So let's go ahead and just, it's not this. We'll get to that later. We got, let's bring. All right, that's too long. Oh. Most of them are reading. Okay, you are muted. Oh, there. Oh. And they lived happily ever after.
Hello.
Hello, ladies. Hello, Josh.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
I'm glad to be here with you guys. I had to miss last week. I had some weird travel
missed
thing
you.
going on, man. I just couldn't do
I
it.
heard you broke down in the middle of somewhere with your electric car, ran out of gas, ran out of juice.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I was driving and it said I had like 7 miles to go, and it's like you have 3 miles left in your whole tank. well, let's throw caution in the wind, see what happens. So I made it. It was just stress inducing, and I didn't react well to it. So, anyways, I'm here now. I'm here now. Guys, go ahead. You can go ahead now and tell me how much you told me so, how much I tried to steer you away, Ryan, and I tried to disabuse you of the notion that Maureen was still alive, and yet you persisted. And your persistence is paid off. Well, congratulations. You guys did call that Maureen was at least the author of the letter. We will say that.
Yes.
Well,
I'm so happy.
I love how essentially Tom was just taunting Matt. Like, Matt's like, he's always reading that fucking letter, but really he was just taunting him for long enough for him to ask about it.
Right? Right? Love it. Yes.
Yeah.
It was so
cool
good.
Little detail.
Well, and he keeps pulling. I mean, so just imagine this whole scene where he's like, all right, that was a long day of riding. We all pull out our pipes. We're all getting high. And Tom ever so carefully reads this letter right in front of you and was like,
Yeah. Sighing audibly.
Folding it all conspicuously. Let me
looking around as if he's trying to sort out what it means the whole time. Like he's looking very curiously at it.
Smelling it. Oh, puts it away. That's all. What a creep.
One thing this did make me think is I don't think we've ever seen Matt ask anyone about themselves.
Oh, that's a good point.
I don't know if he's just super selfish or just like
self-centered,
self-obsessed, or if we just haven't happened to get those parts of the scenes. But it did make me, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I think that's the first time we've ever heard Matt ask someone else how they're doing or what's going on with them.
Yeah.
And it was after months. It was after months of this.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
All right, fold this back on.
How many times did he read it in front of him, you know?
I'll see you tomorrow, dear letter.
So many times.
So many times, yeah.
Did Matt deliver it to him or did Rand?
Matt did.
Right?
Matt did.
I thought so. So it's been a thorn in his veritable brain for a while.
Yeah.
Let's see. Twatcast says that he's selfish Josh, but Tom is like an older him.
Right. Thanks, Joe. And
hi. So
what's up, Twatcast?
What up, twat? So we
that feels like a 90s
so Matt Stagger
reading.
says something interesting here too.
Oh, here we have I'm sorry. It's since book 6, he says.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. He'll mind his own damn business. It's like, well,
totally.
Well, the name's Paul. That's between y'all. And in fact, he doesn't even want to read it. He's like, my dearest Tom. He's like, fuck this. No, this is yours. He's like, go on, boy.
Read it.
But we'll get to that. We have 4 chapters to do. That's chapter 11, I believe. We are starting at chapter 9.
Is it? I thought it was earlier.
Maybe
it
chapter 10?
11? Wow.
No, I think it's 11.
Gosh.
I think it's 11, yeah.
Well, you're probably right. I don't know where anything is usually.
That's why I take notes.
Yeah, exactly. I am not the note taker or the keeper of the chronicles.
The keeper of the chronicles. Chapter 9 is called A Short Path, that has the classic the Wheel of Time, kind of with the wheel and the snake icon. And it has Egeanin, or Leowyn Shipless, as she now likes to be called.
Yeah. Well, has to be called.
Has to be called, but will answer to nothing else. Trying to get some information. She's like, man, you were pretty clever giving her that horse like that. He's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. She's like, oh yeah, no, this is the deal. It says, quote, about courting gifts among the blood. When you are courting someone higher than you, a traditional gift is something exotic or rare. Best of all, if you can connect the gift somehow to one of the recipient's pleasures. And she's like, quote, when she marries, it'll be for the good of the empire, not because some layabout like you gave her a horse or made her smile. It's like, yeah, whatever. But apparently he's hitting all the marks, a courting gift. There's talk about Seda, how Seda, like when she walks by the training, she closes her eyes. That's so cute. She's like, yeah. I can't see the weaves.
I don't know if this is exactly a tie shine, but Matt says, he still enjoyed watching the contortionists, and better still, the female acrobats and tumblers. But when you saw jugglers and fire eaters and the like every day, just about, even Miura and her leopards became, well, less interesting, if not exactly ordinary. Is it like a sexy leopard show?
I don't know.
That's an interesting point, Josh, because he does refer to Tuon as a leopard when she collars, and he's like,
there's a bunch of leopard references throughout these chapters.
Yeah, and he's kind of turned on by it. So we'll get to that though.
But that's on the first page, so it's just that's the first one. I'll bring up the other one. I have them marked.
Excellent.
But
yeah, I'll drink to that, man.
I love it.
In my Hamilton cup.
It's neat to watch how Leowyn has
Hamilton's the best.
started rejecting her previous cultural conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
We start to see it even in these first couple of pages where she's like, I can't tell you anything about Tuon. And then she like changes her mind even after Bale's like, Matt, you're pushing it too far.
Right.
I mean, is it that she can't really tell them, or is it because nobody knows much about the blood except the blood themselves?
Both,
like,
but she's even like, I don't want to tell you anything because I think you're an idiot for thinking you can marry this woman because of my cultural conditioning. I mean, that's how I read it as like.
And she's like, and she even says it's disgusting.
Right.
The Egeanin and Bale
and then who gets married in these chapters?
Well, they
Egeanin married in these chapters too, right? So it's just a funny like. She's like, oh, you want to marry this woman? That's disgusting. And then she ends up being the one getting married.
Oh, does she? Does she get married?
Yeah, Bale and her get married in these chapters.
Oh, fuck. I did not. I thought it was in the last chapter because they're sitting on the wagon.
Oh, maybe you're right. No, wait. Has Matt gotten his tent already? I thought he gets his tent in this chapter.
No.
That was last book.
Yeah,
Okay,
that was
okay.
Yeah,
but freshly.
Yes,
freshly
because
married.
well, I mean, think about it. Egg Gannon and Bale Doman have that freshly just had sex vibe to them.
About them. Yeah,
they have their arm each like wrapped around each other. He's like smoking his pipe, just blowing smoke rings. They're like,
that's amazing.
It was just a great morning for them. They banged it out, and now they're just sitting there having a smoke and got their arms around each other. It's pretty adorable.
I love them, honestly. It's really adorable. And I'm so here for this relaxy taxi kind of relationship. Nice.
Relaxy taxi?
Relaxy taxi.
I don't know. Yeah. That came out of nowhere. I don't know.
I like it.
I do love how really it's all just a setup though to give us this info dump about the cultural practices around the blood.
Right.
I mean,
well, like what stood out?
For what it is. Okay, you can keep going now. I'm sorry. I know I'm slowing us down.
No, you're fine. I was asking what stood out for you as far as these practices. Was there?
No, I think we're to the horse gift part now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he had already given her the horse. So we're on chapter 9, right? That's where you're at too?
Yeah.
Okay.
The short path.
Because he gave the horse last chapter as well.
Yeah, it's just that she's saying it was a smart gift. You already brought it up.
Oh, okay. He ends up talking to Satelanan, and she's funny. She says, quote, "You are a rogue, my lord." She goes on to say, "You still think you can nibble a pastry here, nibble a pastry there, and dance off to the next one." I like that. Oh. Nibble a pastry here, nibble a pastry there. I think that's funny.
It's very contemporary for sure.
Nibble it there.
That's like contemporary youth sex culture, I feel like.
And then she says, "Can I just see it? Can I see it?" And so Matt whips it out. The fox head medallion, you sickos. Lets her check it out. She's like, "Oh my god, that's so awesome."
Okay, so he never lets anybody see this thing, and he suddenly shows it to her.
Right. Because I think she's not Aes Sedai.
She's not Aes Sedai, but she knows a lot about them, and he feels a camaraderie with her. Not only because she stood up for him during the spanking scene, but she like changed her whole plan and like left her family to travel with Matt because she thinks what he's doing is important, right?
Okay.
Essentially to stop him from putting his foot in his mouth, as she says.
Tuon?
No.
Oh, who are you talking about?
What's her name, Dan? The in Satelanan.
Satelanan?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness
the innkeeper?
gracious. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
She was the one that like kind of was okay. Like that fed people to the kin, right? Like was like, "Oh dear, here." Like,
one thing I did want to point out that we skipped over. There's a sentence here. This is Leolwyn talking. Quote, "When she marries, it will be for the good of the empire, not because some layabout like you gave her a horse or made her smile." What's funny about this sentence is both halves are true. Like she doesn't know that Matt is mentioned in the prophecies that essentially lead Tuon's life. Tuon doesn't know that yet either. But Matt knows not only like from the Ylfin that he has to marry her, but he's like realized over and over again that there are these lines in the prophecy that reference him and her being together.
Uh-huh.
So it's just an interesting sentence in the sense that it's like, it's a tautology.
Yeah.
It's what?
Both halves of it are true. It comes across as a statement where two things are being offered up in opposition to one another, but they both end up being true.
How do you spell that word, Josh?
TAUTOLOGY.
It's TAUT?
TAUTOLOGY.
IGY.
Maybe it's not exactly a
I love a
tautology.
new word. Thank you.
It's a repetition. It is kind of tautological, but not exactly.
I like it. It's a new word for me, so I'm very excited. Thank you.
So they're leaving Jurador. That's what they're gonna do in the morning. Matt goes and hangs out with Tuon and Selucia all the time. Generally, Noel? Yeah, Noel and Oliver are generally there. Sometimes Tom, sometimes Julian. It's like a dorm room, you know. Everyone's sitting on the floor playing freaking Parcheesi, doing Jello shots.
Have you ever played Parcheesi?
Yeah.
It's a great game.
Yeah.
I have never played Parcheesi.
It's
I
really
don't know
fun.
anything about Parcheesi.
It's an
What's the
ancient
like
Indian-
basis?
It's an ancient Indian board game. You have these stones, and you could go around the board, and you can like trap people. You're trying to get back to your home, but you have to navigate the whole board. And there's different rules about how you pass, and if you land on a space, you take the other person's gem and send them back home.
Oh, so like Candyland.
Like,
So, like,
what-
Candyland.
Or
it's
like sorry.
proto Candyland, yeah.
It's kind of it reminds me
Sorry
of like
and Candyland mixed together.
what is it, like Chinese checkers, right?
No, well,
Like it looks a little bit like the board ish.
No, it's not a star like that, and it's like routes. It's like a plus sign with these.
Yeah, I used to play that a long time ago.
Such a fun game. I love playing it with my kids.
Fun.
So one
Kids
day
know what
he's
Parcheesi is? It's awesome.
One day
Sorry,
he's
go
in there and he's hanging out with the Aes Sedai who he saved. And it's a cramped place. It's a purple wagon, you know. What are you gonna do? And Tuon just throws on Adams. Just bam, bam. One on Jolene, one on was it Teresa or
Teslin?
Teslin, yeah. And starts like training him right on the spot. Matt's watching, and she's like, "Watch, man, check this out." And most Adams, you don't like use pain for punishment. You use like pleasure for reward. Watch this. I'm gonna make her just straight out almost orgasm right now. And that's kind of what Tesla does. She's like, "Oh God, that is all right."
She like suspends her in air, right? Like she's just holding her up in air.
No, she's just it says hold on.
Tuon doesn't hold her. I thought she was holding her, like got her up in the air.
No, it said
Wait,
no, it said no, they were just standing on the ground. And then so it says Jolene's lips parted and her eyes grew very wide. She swayed and the rope suspended table swung as she caught herself with both hands to keep from falling.
Right.
If she
okay.
One
Okay,
thing,
maybe that's why I thought.
yeah,
okay,
she
go ahead.
like landed on this table and was like, "Oh God."
one detail that we did pass over that I wanted to mention is that Matt finds out Satella Nan was an Aes Sedai who was retired in old age. And she went away and was found half sick on the streets, half starved and sick. And she was taken in by the kin. But she's always lied about this. I guess that means the 3 oaths don't apply to her anymore. That's an interesting bit of information.
So what does that mean? When you retire, you remove the oaths, like, or do they still stay with you? Like,
I assume
how
they
does that
remove
work?
them, but that's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
It says, but the Aes Sedai expect that when, quote, ellipsis, certain things happen, the women will go away indecently and die soon after. So I don't know what happened. Maybe she didn't retire in old age, but something happened and she had to leave.
Yeah, and I was going to ask about that, and I'm glad you brought
What
it
is
up
the
because
certain things?
what
Yeah.
is the certain things happen when certain things happen?
Lesbian
go away
relationship,
decently and die soon after. Yeah, or a pregnancy.
pregnancy.
Said I went away, but Jasper found me half starved and sick on the streets of Ebodar and took me to his mother.
Oh.
According to
Mm.
Dobie, his mother
think
does all kinds of weird stuff.
We know that this can happen, right? We know that the oath rod can remove the oaths because that's what the Black Aja were doing.
Right. But that is interesting. Like, if they retire, are they free from the 3 oaths? Right. Like, that is a good question. If they just
Thank you, Jen.
retire, I mean, what does that even mean? Like, just to retire from like working as an Aes Sedai at all, like
Or you're
doing
kicked
anything
out for whatever
at
reason.
all, or like, well, I would think that if you're like kicked out, or like you're, I don't know, downgraded in some type of way, right? Like, then you just don't get to.
Last warning, Matt Stagger.
You don't have them, right? Like, you would be free of the 3 oaths, then aren't you free of the? That's a hard thing to say. Free of the 3 oaths. Free of the 3 oaths.
Yeah.
Tongue
We have the
twister.
3 oaths.
3 out of 3.
Say that 3 times. That.
3 out of 3.
Free of
Three out of 3.
Goodness.
Anyway.
Okay, so I have a thought, but I don't know where it was in a chapter, and I apologize. I got to get better at underlining stuff. But
It's okay.
when Aes Sedai were targeting Matt, and you know how his medallion reacts to that,
Mhm.
there's a section that mentions that Tuon saw the weave melt as it touched his medallion. So I think that's significant because we've already learned that
Well,
the Soldam have channeling capabilities, possibly.
we learned that the blood already know.
Yeah.
She says, "I know that. What makes me different is I won't do it." It's all about self-control. That's actually from that same section.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she says, "Oh, I know that. I know that I can see weaves. The difference between you and me is that I would never channel."
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. It says, quote, I'm
Yeah.
nothing like these women, Toy. Nothing like them. Perhaps I could learn, but I choose not to, just as I choose not to steal or commit murder. That makes all the difference.
So important. Such a crazy thing that yeah.
Again, so much in these chapters, like they're so rich. Like,
Yeah.
these are definitely
They really are.
It might be my 3 favorite chapters we've read like in the whole series.
Nice. Honestly, they really are solid chapters.
Or 4
Very happy.
chapters, I guess it is.
So Matt says, listen, Matt said to Tuon, if you think you'll see 100 reasons this won't work, like you can learn to channel yourself. Doesn't knowing that change anything? And she just ignores him. She says, try to embrace Saidar. She drawled, stern eyes steady on Jolene. He goes on to say, she looked like a bloody leopard staring at 3 tethered goats, and strangely more beautiful than ever. A beautiful leopard who might take him with her claws as soon as the goats. Well, he had faced a leopard a few times before this, and those were his own memories. There was an odd sort of exhilaration that came from confronting a leopard. He's getting turned on by this side of Tuon. Am I reading that right, guys? What do you think, Carrie?
Totally, yeah.
I mean, he's learning more about her, like sides he hasn't seen yet. So it's making him excited. Like, hey, I really like this girl. She's not just a boring little porcelain doll. She's a badass.
I would change it from being turned on to falling in love, but maybe you mean the same thing. I didn't read it as sexual, but I definitely read it as
a leopard,
like attraction. Yeah. I read it that way too, like very much attraction. Like,
we know he's got a thing for leopards.
He had just collared 2 women.
Mm-hmm. Little dom action.
And Matt is finding that not repulsive. We can say that.
And he's the one who undoes one of the collars, which I think is interesting too.
Yeah, he knows how. Pop goes the weasel.
I thought you needed to use the power to uncollar.
No, you just hold it in like the special place.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's so Matt takes all those 3 Adam.
I agree with Josh. I've won if that's a comment that's coming through. Thank you, Echo.
Echo, I thought we were
Okay.
friends.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's like, well, they annoy me. He's like, yeah, me too, but we can't be doing that shit. He buries him in a hole. The Aes Sedai wanted him. They're like, no, we want to see that. It's a Terangria. But he's like, nope. Buries him in a hole. And that's pretty much the end of that chapter. Is there anything else that I did not touch on that you guys wanted to bring up from chapter 9?
I think.
Did we?
Go ahead, Karen.
I have one thing. Did we talk briefly about when Egianan was telling Matt about Tuon and how she had a brother and sister that were assassinated after they tried to kill her? I mean, I felt like this was very Games of Thrones-y, you know?
Mhm.
Ah.
And they're all like little savages. They're little kids.
I mean, we did already kind of know this. I think the
14-year-olds.
the Death's Head guard captain who we met briefly with the skull cup that he drinks out of by accident. He mentions that the brothers and sisters had been taking one out, and that Tuon was like one of the last standing, and that she had tried to get assassinated like as a child, and he had always saved her, and that's how he got the gift that he was given.
Oh,
Okay, so I have a random thought question.
okay.
Did Tuon assassinate her brother and sister after they attempted to kill her? If that's true, why did she say later that she's not a murderer? Didn't she kind of like indirectly tell them?
Is a general a murderer for commanding soldiers to kill other people?
But yeah, I think that her definition of murderer is different than what ours
It
would
means
be.
doing it with your own
You know?
hands, not because you commanded it.
Okay.
Do you think that's what her
I mean,
definition
do we agree with that as a definition societally?
No.
Do you personally, ethically?
Of course not.
Well, I
Of
mean,
course not. Do you?
if you order a kill and you're not the one doing the kill, you're still gonna get caught and go to jail. Like it's still, you're still
Unless-
liable for that.
Yes.
Unless you're royalty and that's just something you can do to your subjects.
Or a
Like, she
politician.
doesn't see it as
yeah.
murder because she owns the people. They're all subject.
Yeah. Okay. So it's her just being a royal snob, and she's just like, yeah, I'm a good girl.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
she
think she thinks she's untouchable.
Well, yeah, she's sure that no one has seen her face because they're not allowed to. She's like, trust
don't
me,
look at her
Toy,
face. They
no
don't
one
look.
has seen my face.
Okay, so self-defense.
I mean, if they tried to kill you first, presumably it's self-defense.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's also like the
But
The
even
Empire
if it's
way.
self-defense, you're still a murderer. Like if you kill somebody and it's self-defense, you still killed somebody. Like it doesn't change that fact. And so I think that just in like to argue the question specifically, I think that it doesn't matter if you ordered it or you're doing the actual killing. It's just it's not right either way, right? Like that's what we're agreeing on. Craziness.
So I mean, you know how it's
But
like
she
when you're
doesn't
growing
think
up, it's okay to get in fights with your brother, but just don't punch in the face, kind of thing. Well, when you're a daughter of the Empress, may she live forever. Your roughhousing involves stilettos to the kidneys and stuff.
Hey,
So
if I can't use my stilettos, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, I agree with Matt's latest
Like the
comment.
kidney. What's that? Killing?
right.
Killing
there you
isn't
go.
always murder, though. That's true. I
So
suppose that's true.
I
Solid
love
point, Matt Stagger.
How the Aes Sedai were like becoming a pain in Tuon's side, and this was
Oh my
the
god.
approach she took. Like they were following her everywhere, and she would like try to avoid them. and then this is the approach she takes. I mean, it's brute force, I guess, but
She's all, they're really pissing me off, Matt. He's
And
all, I
then
know they piss me off too.
I think this comes up later, but just to mention it now so we don't forget later. I don't know. I feel like I will potentially. The toy and Precious thing. Being a game that Matt ultimately loses. I like
And
that.
we
That
didn't even
was,
know it was a game. We didn't
I mean-
even know it was a game until they revealed it. It was pretty interesting.
it's something for sure. Yeah.
Well, and Matt, do you remember earlier, about 3 chapters ago, I think, when he gave her the nickname, and she's
Mhm.
like, "All right, bitch, let's see who's gonna win this one." And he's like, "I don't even know what game I'm playing."
Oh, okay.
And
Okay, so
we found
he-
out what game it was.
So he never said her name directly to her
During the
until
period.
that time they were in that
When
fight.
they were
So
getting
other
attacked.
before that, he referred to her as the daughter of the nine moons, or
Precious.
like
Precious.
No, he
well
called her
before Precious. Like what did he?
He called her Tuan, I think, before.
Yeah, it was.
But then the
just
game
when he-
started,
yeah.
and then she won because she didn't.
Oh,
use the
okay.
game beforehand. Before he won.
Yeah.
I do love how using Tuan's name comes up twice. Perrin does it too, and that's
Oh.
what saves them both from being killed by the woman, the third hand.
Was it Tuan or was it Sarath?
Oh, maybe it was Sarath.
I
Oh
think
yeah,
it
you're
was
right.
Sarath.
You're right. It was Sarath, not Tuan. Okay,
But
yeah,
names are important. It
To the
do
sun
have a
god.
Yes.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're right. It's Sarath. I'm
Yes.
sorry. I'm getting confused.
Okay.
Yeah. The blood, man. The blood is their own. They got their own rules, man. They play hard and fast. All right, let's get
But
to
yeah,
the
that is
deep
crazy
chapter,
amount
man.
of power.
This is we have 22 people here. Thank you all very much for being here. I love you and
Yeah.
proud of you. Make sure you hit that thumb. Apparently, it matters. And hit subscribe if you haven't
Apparently.
already. We're getting into a cool chapter here. It is chapter 10. It is called A Village in Chiyoda. Guys, I had a Nissan Chiyoda in high school. Got good gas mileage. Thing never broke down. And we got a cool icon. I've seen this icon tattooed. That the triangle with the
Is
Yeah.
that from the Snakes and Foxes game or something?
Well,
Snakes.
see.
It looks like a. Oh yeah, it has a snake on the top and a fox on the bottom.
Isn't it like the
Nice.
symbol that you draw on the Tower of Genji with the
Like-
brass
Like
knife?
when you play the game, you do a symbol when you start or something like that.
I think it's the symbol you put on the side of the Tower of Genji to open it up.
Okay.
The smartest kid in the world, Oliver.
Okay, so I did want to. So yeah, like plot armor leaving fucking Oliver here just so that he can deliver this little critical bit of information.
The blood suck.
The blood suck. I love it. I love it.
Oh, I like that. It's the
Okay.
Deathly Hollow symbol. I think you're right. Hey, Joe, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. That's my Barty Crouch.
So, are we on chapter 10 now?
We're on chapter 10. Yeah.
Okay, so I like how it opens up and how it seems like every culture has their own version of the Snakes and Foxes. Like they all have little bits and pieces of it. And Tuan goes in to explain to him her take on it, and I thought that was really cool.
Do you have that quote there?
Well, I have it in my notes.
Okay.
I basically that she tells him some children's tales about snakes and foxes. If you sleep on Old Hobbs Hill under a full moon, the
Right.
snakes will give you true answers to 3 questions.
Mm-hmm.
And then the foxes steal people's skin and take the nourishment for food. I was like, whoa.
Right. This is when he mentions that he sees ravens and he's looking at them fly away, and she's like, "Did you see an omen? Because
Oh, I didn't.
that's not how it works."
I didn't actually see. There's a fox head at the bottom of the snake.
Yeah, I just realized that when we were talking
Mhm.
about it.
Interesting. Okay, so it's the Aelfin icon, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Uh,
Oh my goodness.
he says that they can be spies for the Dark One, and she's like, Toy. You silly, silly boy. She says, how many children's tales do you believe? So, yeah, she does mention that, and Matt's jaw almost hits the floor. He's like, how the hell did he know? Did she know about the three wishes and about the skins?
Well, we
He's
know
like,
that
I've seen the skins.
we know that thousands of years ago, it was people were regularly going there, right? Even up to 300-ish years ago.
We don't know how
Well,
regular.
When it comes
actually
through the
was.
first time, they're like, oh, it's been quite some time since we've had a visitor. And there's enough memories in Matt's head from all around the same thousands of years, presumably, at least how he's described the history. It's not like he's talking about 10,000 years ago, last turning. Like, no, these are all memories from the last few thousand years that are filling his head. So we know that some number of people went through, presumably many of whom were generals or heroes or soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a rite of passage? Was it? I know we talked about this a little bit before.
Yeah.
What was the cultural significance of going there?
Yeah. So you think that thousands have gone?
Maybe tens of thousands?
Maybe tens of thousands? Okay, so it's like a ayahuasca trip.
I'm gonna disagree with Josh. I'm gonna say I think there's a few people that went there, but I feel like
what
if the snakes and foxes? Well, I mean, like maybe a few of the prominent people, like the generals and stuff. But like, I feel like, isn't there a part where Matt, or maybe it's, I don't know where it is in this chapter, but somebody says something about, don't they come out for a few minutes at a time and then go back in? Like, could they just steal people's memories without them even going through the twisted doorway?
I don't, that doesn't fit my understanding, but we know they can cross into our world for a few moments at a time.
Do you think that they have to, Carrie, do you think that they have to have gone through the twisted doorway in order for, or wait, you're asking if they do have to go through that at all
can they steal people's memories without them going through the doorway? Or can they only get them from people who go in? Like, I don't know. I'm just...
Well, so if you think about how Matt got put in the position that he did, it's because it was the cost of the answers, right? The price they did. Part of the ritual is that they determine the price that you pay. Which presumably always includes Matt's memories.
So this is
or
a
the
good
memories
question.
of the person who's crossing.
What do you guys think? It says, are all of Matt's memories for men?
Women's memories.
Or does he have women's memories too?
I don't think we've seen him have women's memories. No.
No, and he actually says that of all the memories that he has, and that like all the memories that are going on, he's never understood women. Like he can't figure out women, how they work.
Right.
And like can't understand them, like no matter how many lives
he's like, I've tried literally thousands of times.
They've all been like, yeah. So presumably they've all been like, male identifying, anyways. As far as
so, why is that?
That they all come from men?
Yeah.
Do they only eat men?
Either. Well, we know women can.
Oh, wait! You think that only the men's memories, that Aelfin and Eilfin,
or maybe they only go after the men? I don't know. I'm just.
So I think gender norms.
They're scorned women.
Even the aliens had male and female counterparts. We hear them described as being masculine and feminine, Aelfin and Eilfin. So. Their gender roles,
just scorned bitches. Like,
well, I just think that they're not going to fill a man's head with women's memories because, well, Robert Jordan, and because he wrote the book and the aliens behave like in the norms that we see the rest of the book executed in. I mean, to look at it from a meta perspective.
Well, In the letter,
Josh.
Maureen says, in a short while I will go down to the docks, and there I will confront Lanfear. How can I know that? That secret belongs to others. Suffice it to say, I know, and let that forged knowledge stand as proof for the rest of what I say. And then she goes on talking about her own rescue. Where does she get this information from? From the snakes and foxes? The snakes? And if so, I mean, would she be the first woman to go there?
Sorry, what was the question?
I don't think she was the first woman to go there, although it's possible. The rules don't say anything about being a man.
Yeah.
I thought she learned it in Ruidian. Or no, she learned that from the aliens, but other stuff from Ruidian. Like, wait, does Ruidian
Did she
show
go
you
through the arches?
future?
Did she go through the arches, or did she go through the doorway? Like, I'm trying to
She went
remember.
through the doorway, yeah. Both doorways, ultimately.
Well, she knows about the future before it happened, and she's seeing like different
Ruidian only
possible
shows you
outcomes.
Does Ruidian only show you the past, or does it also show the future? I feel like it only shows the past.
No, I mean it has to. How does she know then? Because they told
Asking
her.
the Elfin, the first ones, the snake people, fox people. Fuck, I can't remember what order we.
What if it shows the men the past and the woman the future?
It's possible. I mean,
guys,
These things do seem to be very gender specific for some reason.
Now, didn't Avienda go through this too, or she went through the arches? Like, I'm trying to figure out what did she do in Rodian?
Luz Jr. says that it shows a whole lot of possible future, and that makes sense because in the letter, she says there's a lot of different ways this can go. I witnessed many of them, and all of them fail unless it's the three of you.
Right.
The only way it works is for it to be the three of you and for Matt to ask to see the letter.
That's a good part.
Right.
Good point, Christian Rapper. Your rhymes or your statements are good. I'm not going to put them in the crapper.
Nice
rhyme. I'm
there.
always gonna do a couplet. I have my first official Taishar of the night. You guys, grab it.
Nice.
Quote: they came on a sizable village.
Yes. So good. He came on a sizable village.
Taishar.
Reluctantly Taishar that one.
How does a bastard or son of Okay. I'm
gonna start singing I'll Be Back. So
we missed a whole big chunk of chapter 10.
The ghost.
Please.
Yeah, so they come across a village, and Matt and Luca are like, what the hell's going on? Nobody's coming up to us. Nobody's paying attention to us. And then Matt's like, oh shit, like I know what's happening here.
Well, he knew because he could hear, he heard paved road that it shouldn't be paved.
Had been paved. Right?
It was from like many years ago in the past.
He's like, I remember building that road. Yeah. And so they come across an entire dead village. No one responds when they come up. There's a peddler that's coming. Matt's like, oh, 1 + 1.
Not just dead, but like lost the fucking time.
They're like ghosts.
It's very, very Twilight Zone-y.
Yeah. What happens to this peddler, guys?
He gets sucked underneath the earth, and
I mean, what all right, what happens? Is this a like a just Tarmogeddon? This is like a pre-shock of Tarmogeddon.
Is this like a bubble of evil?
This poor peddler, this
That's so
one
good.
poor dude, and like 6 of his horses.
And why does it
Okay.
only take the living things and not the hat or the wagon? That's a little weird.
We know from a previous chapter, don't quote me on which chapter it was, in which book it was. Maybe it was a couple chapters ago. I don't know. When the Forsaken were talking, they said your next targets are Perrin and Matt. Could it be a Forsaken behind this? Or is it a bubble of evil? Or
Hmm.
something else?
Oh.
Well, certainly the arrow in Perrin's arm is the Forsaken, right?
Like a dark friend hired by the Forsaken?
Yeah, because they
Wow.
kill themselves before they're captured and stuff, you know. Like,
Yeah.
So maybe, I mean,
Yeah.
could there be?
But who would have that power to do that? I mean, we know the dead walking
If
is.
the ghost
a sign
hadn't
of
appeared
torment.
until now, I would be more likely to buy that, right? It's not the first time we've seen this. It's the first time, but we hear about people dying from being touched by the ghosts, right?
Mhm.
People
Mm.
vanishing. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, we do hear some weird stories, like rumors about someone who was fine and then not only they died, but everyone who touched them died within
and like
3
the
days. The
Beatles,
entire village.
the body
Yeah.
being emptying out as Beatles is another thing.
Mm. Gross.
That was
Very
yeah,
Star Trek. But yeah, gross.
Okay, so after they stop freaking out about what they just all witnessed and saw, Val and Luca is like, hey, we could, what did he say? Like, we could either go on or we can go back. Like, what do you guys want to do? And I think they decided they were going to go ahead, even though it was scary to go forward. They decided not to go back, even though Matt was like considering it. I just thought that whole part was funny. The way Matt was describing it. He's like, oh, I guess I gotta go forward.
well,
So-
Matt. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say that. Go ahead. Actually, go ahead, Dan. I'll hold. It's about this comment. So,
Matt
go ahead.
was seemed happy that they all kind of decided to go. He was like, Julian and Tom walked up and they're like, all right, looks like we're gonna have to split off on our own pretty much now. And Valen goes on and kind of gives what Matt describes as a Gleeman-like performance. Now Tom doesn't agree. Tom's like, that's not Gleeman shit. I'll show you Gleeman shit. But it was pretty good. It was convincing, and they all decide it was either go back to Ibudar, where they already passed all the villages. They're not going to get any more money from where they just already milked them all,
Right.
or go to Lugard. And guys, have you seen Lugard? Lugard is probably the coolest city, except for Camelin. We're going there too. Except for Tarvalon, we're going there too, guys. I'm even renting this boat. We're all getting private boats. We're gonna go in style.
Ooh. Nice.
Yeah, so they all kind of like rally around it. Matt loses a coin, but he's like, "Man, that's the best. I'm fine with losing that shit. That's cool with me because with the bit large number of travelers, they obviously have more safety. If there's one party, then you can't hide yourself. But if they're with Val and Lucas traveling world of marvelous magical wonders and oddities, mysterious doodads. So
So I was curious about this too. Like, why didn't the Aes Sedai use the one power to save him? Part of me wonders if they've just been so,
Like in shock.
or just trained by their new life where they can't use the one power because the Sanshin being nearby could detect it and capture them, that they are kind of like not the same people anymore. That they don't think of using the power in the same way. I don't know the answer to that. That's just a thought. But
well, and also, how far away was this guy? So Matt was yelling at him
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Could they have just like still done stuff? Probably. Yeah, probably. But
I mean, maybe
I
it would
would
be different
imagine
if they knew that. Is it because the person was a stranger and they didn't know him? If it was somebody in their party, maybe they would try to have done something.
This is an interesting comment from Matt Stagger.
and probably out of their range, Matt would have had to use the Two Rivers longbow to reach. Yeah.
I didn't realize that
Interesting.
the one power had a range like that. I mean, certainly it seems like the Ashaman can battle attack far away. We've seen the Suldam do it, right?
Huh.
Like launch fire at ships across the bay kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's an interesting question.
Yeah.
So maybe they could have just fireballed him.
Mm.
But like
Bellfire.
lifting
Big
him
risk factors involved, though, right? Like,
up, burn them.
how important is this person, compared to like how much risk would it have been for them to like intervene and save
Okay.
him?
This is interesting.
You know?
I didn't realize that was the
Like-
rules, but
So they all kind of recover. They're like, Jesus, that was weird. They decide to press on that night, and they're like boogieing now. They're like, they got their walking shoes on. They're like, let's go. Matt tries to play games with Chuan at the night. She's like, this is a night of prayer, dummy. Don't you know anything? We gotta pray. He's like, all right. I guess I'm marrying a religious girl, I guess. Eggy Annan is a changed woman and is bringing Amathera with her. She walks in, and Amathera, who's Julian's girl, she like gets down and like all curls up. She picks her up. She says, quote, "You look me in the eyes. You look everyone in the eyes." And Julian says, "This is a change," he says suspiciously. There's another Tyshar, guys. Lift him.
Oh, I've got a few also. Let's do it. Yeah.
Quote, Eggy Annan fisted him.
Oh, I have that one too.
Okay, all right, double Tyshar. All right.
Yes.
All right, what else do you have, Kay?
I have he groaned loudly.
Okay.
I have exchanging finger wriggles with Salusha.
I underlined that one too.
And Tom accepted with a small bow.
Oh no.
nice.
Thank you. You're
This
welcome.
isn't perfect,
I'll be here all night.
So nimbly, you'd think they had hands where their feet should be.
God, nice. Love it.
All right. So she makes a deal with Julian. She says, "I'm changing Master Sandar. Will you?" He's like, "Well, I'll make a try of it." Does the thing. And here's the scene. Guys, chat, go ahead and take off your pants if you want. Do whatever you need. This is save her away, is what I'm saying. There we go.
Oh,
We were right.
I did love this. So
Say it in slow motion.
I'll read these super short paragraphs. The white-haired man looked up from his letter. I think not, Matt. My mind's in a maze tonight. If you don't mind my asking, Tom, why do you read that letter the way you do? I mean, sometimes your face looks as if you're trying to puzzle out what it means. Oliver yelped with glee at a good toss of the dice. Just so good. Fucking so good.
Really, honestly, I did not pick that
I
up
didn't
at all.
pick that
That's
up.
awesome.
That's
God,
awesome.
so good.
So
I
good.
just love this. It feels like Robert Jordan is like really in his stride. These 4 chapters, like we're just
there's-
getting like constant, like lots of Matt, lots of like insights, lots of just oh my god, it's so.
There's
packed
layers
full of
upon layers of
good shit.
information.
Mhm.
So good.
One thing we didn't talk about yet in the letter was there was a small section about land.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
Yeah.
His destiny follows a different path from mine. I wish him all the happiness with Nynaeve.
Mm.
And if you see him, tell him that all this is for the best. Sorry.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, they didn't
what
really
is
have
Rand's destiny?
It's different than hers.
Mm.
We bring Malkir back from the dead. Okay.
So it says, young Matt, so should you decide to make the attempt anyway, young Matt knows the way to find me, yet you must not show him this letter until he asks about it. That is of the utmost importance. He must know nothing that is in this letter until he asks. Events must play out in certain ways, whatever the costs. Any thoughts about that passage, I guess?
I have a weird comment. Did Matt even ask to see the letter, or was it kind of like pushed towards him
asked
from
about
Tom? Like Tom kind of like just gave up and gave in and said, "Yeah, there's something important in here about you." And then that's when Matt said, "Hey, can I see?" You know, like I feel like if Tom wasn't doing what he was doing, Matt would have never have done anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just felt it was kind of weird. Like it wasn't
I
like
said
he
he was
directly
baiting him.
asked.
He's been baiting him this whole time, you know,
Yeah.
for sure.
He wanted him to ask about it, but
But
like
that's Gleeman.
it clearly was going to take a long time. Like he had it out in front of him so many times for so long before, right?
But that's Gleemanship,
Yeah, trickery, right? Like
right? I
Like
mean, like
sleight of
Tom
hand.
executing that so masterfully.
It's a chain
Okay,
letter.
oh my god, that's so funny.
Okay.
Oh my god. that's so-
The other thing
Wait, what are you agreeing with? I don't remember what I said.
that he was baiting him. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay. So the next part is one of my favorite parts in this whole chapter
I love that show.
Yeah.
when Matt's like,
too.
I don't know where the hell she is. And then Oliver's like, oh, I know where she is. She's in the Tower of Genji. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, how would you know this?
Brigitte told me.
Well, I love it was like when he started explaining when Noah started explaining like what the story from Jane Farstrider was about the tower. That's when Matt like realized, oh right, I do know what you're talking about. Like he didn't think that he knew just by the name of it, I thought. But then as the other guy was like describing it,
he's
it,
like,
like,
oh
came to
crap.
him.
I do remember seeing that. I was half
Right.
awake in a dream
Yeah.
state under the dagger or
Half
whatever.
dead.
I remember saying that.
When
Yeah.
Oliver mentions the tower, he's like, Brigitte told me Tower Genji is the way to the lands of the Aelfin and the Eilfin. He made the gesture that began a game of snakes and foxes, a triangle drawn in the air and then a wavy line through it.
Right.
Which is the
fox-
chapter
the fox
icon,
face.
which we have. Yeah.
The fox face is a triangle and the snake. So one thing that realizing Tom and Noel, Jan Farstrider are with Matt, maybe also realize that Loyal is with Rand. They both have authors with them, right? Loyal's writing a book. Noel is an author in theory.
Hmm.
It's just a funny
Yeah.
little plant.
Yeah.
And I wonder how that will come to pass in the end. Because Noel's another good option for who's writing these books.
Yeah.
If the author is a character, anyhow.
He
Right.
does volunteer to be the third. This does say in the letter that it has to be Tom, Matt, and a third person. It says, a man I do not know will try to rescue me. May, I say, because it may be that you will not or cannot, or because Matt may refuse. So she's not even sure. She's like, if they all say yes, then it has to be 3 people. It can't be just 2. I've seen you try alone. I've seen you try with Matt. Y'all die. I've seen you try with this one dude I don't know. It works out. Matt goes, oh yeah. Now that you mentioned this silver tower that has no windows, that's by a river. Yeah, I remember. Well, Bale knows what's that. But Matt makes a good point here. So he says, I can't go with you. The Aelfin will know I'm coming. Maybe the Eowyn will know I'm coming. Maybe the Aelfin too. Burnby, they might already know about this letter because I read it. They might know every word we've said. Is Matt under constant surveillance?
Well, he thinks
This
he
part
is.
freaked me out when he talked about them seeing through his eyes. That part freaked me out.
Is that happening?
It's either that or Matt just got some really bad shit on the street and he's just feeling like a bit crazy. He's been up for 4 days and super hallucinating.
No,
he needs a hospital.
I know. I think he's making a good point. He knows that they have he's getting these memories. He's like, well, they probably everyone who went through this thing. So they have my memories too, and they're collecting them as we speak. And these Aelfin and Eowyn or the Eowyn at least, could be constantly monitoring.
Human TV, TM.
It is a paranoia, but it certainly is justified when we're dealing with magic people, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But the dice rattling in his head, is that from them or is that them?
No, that happens after the dagger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the dice is from the dagger peeling.
Well, we don't know if it's from them, but it starts around the same time, I believe.
Okay.
It's after
before he goes through the doorways.
Right.
Doesn't it doesn't.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Doesn't it seem like the dice really are, like we talked about this last week, like the dice maybe being something like a hot, like warm, cold type game, like if he gets warmer to the thing that he's supposed to be doing, like they get louder maybe, or then like they stop when he actually does the thing or meets the thing that he needs to do, like when they stop rolling because he decides that he is going to go rescue Moiraine, at the end. Like
there's been at least 3 pairs that were rolling concurrently. So we don't know if him thinking that they slowed down was because of the multiple pairs of dice.
Right. And I think that that's what happened. I feel like just one pair stopped rolling. And that's why it seemed like quieter to him. But it was really just like, oh, one less task now. Like there's one, check. You did that. Good job. And now you still need to agree to like save Moiraine. And then the last,
Right. That's how I read it as well.
So we do know the answer to this question, which is they do continue to collect them because he remembers dying for many of the warriors who are in his mind. So we know that they collect them up to death. I like that too. Yes.
Nice.
Well, I like the part towards the end of this chapter where he starts to explain to the others his whole experience with them. And like up until this point he was keeping this all to himself, and now he's like showing them his scar and he's talking about what he experienced when he went through the doorway.
Well, yeah, because he comes out and he's like, the Eowyn might be monitoring right now. It's very creepy. And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about, Master Koth. And he's like, all right. So here's the deal.
Here's the download,
All right. I actually went through that. And look at my neck even. You see that? That I normally don't show that. All right, don't tell anyone. So he says he'll go. The last set of dice have stopped. So the 3 dice that we know of are when he gave Tuon the razor, right?
Yeah.
When he got the bell found, he figured out
the bell founder,
and she said she was going to come with him.
Yeah.
And now this here, where he says he's going to go to the tower.
Yeah, I love that. That it ends with he could have wept, like that feeling of relief of like just something gnawing at you in your head and then it finally like goes away, or you figure something out, or you're like, like when you're trying to remember something like I do all the time and you can't figure it out and you're like, ah! And then you finally do and you're just like, ah.
I'm like you, okay, where I get easily distracted by my own brain. And if I had dice rattling in my head, I wouldn't be able to even say a word. I would be so distracted.
Okay, so I have a question for Kay and Josh. So now that Matt knows this information, what is he going to do with it, and how quickly is he going to set out to go rescue her? Is it going to be a while, or is it going to be quickly? Does he still is he going to like? At what point is he going to part from Chuan?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know how quickly he feels like he can really like go and make this a priority, because you're right, like he doesn't really like Maureen. He's never liked her. He's complaining about it the whole way through, and then he agrees to do it anyways, but he's like not super thrilled about it. It doesn't feel like a high priority for him. So yeah, I don't know how quickly. That's a good question. I don't know how quickly he's going to go.
Maybe he has some business to take care of first before he can go rescue her. I don't know.
Right. What is he gonna do with Tuan in Solution? Is he gonna just be like,
mass dagger, of course, the typical response.
He's gonna tie her up and make her wait for him patiently.
Read and find out.
Read and find out.
That's the way. This is the way. Yeah, what else in chapter 10? Anything else?
I like when they were
good.
When Noel was describing the tower, he says it was 200 by 40 feet. So what can we compare that to? Like, how big is 200 by 40?
Drink.
Maybe maybe the Washington Monument?
It's like 12 stories, right?
Well, yeah. Dan was just there. Yeah?
Yeah.
No, so that's 555 feet.
All right, half of that. Like half of this? Is it about 40 foot base?
Okay, so if it's multiple stories, when you go to the twisted doorway, you end up on one floor of the 12 floors. Like, how does this work exactly? Like, I don't understand. I'm just curious. How is it going to be going in from instead of going in from a doorway but entering through the tower? How different is that going to be for them?
You're right. 40 feet is not very large.
And you probably don't have the protections of the promises when you go in through there too.
Yeah.
Oh, good point. Gosh, this is going to get interesting. Is this anybody's favorite book in chat? Is this like a popular book? I would think this is a super
I would think it would be top 3. I think it would be top 3 for people, but
I would think so too. I'm really interested to hear.
And we're not even halfway through it yet.
I know. It's so good. It's so good.
And speaking
Magic Mall, second floor, house first, fortune snake people. Very funny.
I took a couple pictures of our own Tower of Genji that's 500. So I'm posting them right now in the Discord. If you guys go into Discord, it's in the general chit chat. There's a couple pictures. You'll see my face.
There. We got a little crew in Discord right now too. If the rest of you would like to join us.
Oh yeah, jump into the can party. Let's jump to chapter 11. Chapter 11 is a long one, so we're going to try to skim through it if we can a little bit. It's called A Hell in Matarin. It is a Matt chapter. It's the same. It's the next day. It has the dice. There you go. Some dice.
It has the dice.
It's the next day, and they are on the move, man. No one is really comfortable still. They just saw a peddler and 6 horses die. Not cool. So they're up before the cock crows, as they say.
I love that in the second paragraph here, quote, save for an occasional unreadable glance when he made a sally or told a joke. Tuon rode looking straight ahead, blah, blah, blah. A sally is a military maneuver. It's like when soldiers change direction, or like you do something unexpected in a military situation.
Oh, interesting.
Like an attack. Now that he knows she's also a general, or, you know, like trained in essentially the game of houses or something that looks very much like it, we get these military metaphors.
Interesting. She's broody in her silence, and she just had a night of prayer. So I don't know if that didn't. Maybe she didn't sleep well. Maybe she was praying all night. I'm not really sure. But she's not very talkative. Matt's trying. He's giving it the old college try. They get to the land of Matterman, a town, a big town. They get there by like mid-morning, and they're like, guys, we're setting up and we're leaving by dawn. They're just there to kind of hit and split. Matt is just kind of lazily tossing the dice. Says, quote, after an early run of mostly high numbers, 5 single pips stared up at him 10 times in a row. Most men thought the Dark One's eyes an unlucky toss. Then he did it again. Toss the dice. Dark One's eyes. Another dice. Dark One's eyes. Then they go to Selucia says she wants to talk to you. They go to the Purple Wagon, and she's like, "Hey, Toy, I want to see a biker bar. Take me to a dive bar. Yeah, I want a place where they sawdust on the floors and dartboards, and you know, a stage, a honky tonk stage with chicken wire, so that people can throw their bottles at them, like in Blues Brothers." Tom he's like, I can't do that. I can't do that. Tom's like, oh, I know a place. He's like, thanks, Tom. Okay, I guess we'll go. They go to what's called the White Ring. The White Ring, it's actually a garter belt if you look at the sign. And this place is kind of, it's a place where like, it's like a Wall Street place where like merchants kind of go like for lunch and just have like a drinking lunch and then do business. It's like, go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just going to say, Luca comes up to Matt, and Matt says, quote, Matt sighed, gold would defeat fear every time in Val and Luca. Yeah. And I think this is another one of those instances where, what's the truism? Like, the things that bother us the most are often things about ourselves.
I hate that one.
Like, Matt and Luca are so much peas in the pod. We hear all these comments about Matt. I think it's even in this chapter where he's like, I don't like work. The greatest thing about money is you can pay people to do the work for you, kind of thing.
Yeah, he sees people bent over and he's like, ow, that makes my back hurt just looking at it. Ew.
And he's like, oh, money comes easily to me. Like, money buys.
Fuck that peasant stuff.
He just throws money at any problem. Like, I don't know. It's such a... they're so much more alike than he is willing to admit.
Oh,
Even down to like the frilly like cloaks and stuff, right? Matt was always, at least when he was the sex toy boy, he was like all sallied up with lace and tight pants and
ribbons.
Apparently pink ribbons. It's funny that she knows.
Yeah, the pink
Tuon knows that little bit of information.
Right? She totally triggers him.
They get inside of the White Ring and
wait.
Go, please.
Before they enter, they check their knives.
Oh yeah, that was great. He shrugs to like feel the one right behind his. Yeah. I could totally just picture it. It was really well described. You're right.
And that's got to be a comical scene too. You know, like in real life, if you see that on TV, it's like, no, check your knives. And they're like, all right, clink, clink, out of the boots, clink, clink. This one, clink. Oh, that one, clink.
It would have been funnier if right when they went in, they were like, "You must turn over your knives."
Yeah.
You get that protracted 10-minute scene of Matt pulling him out of like his butthole, and
Yeah, clink, clink.
Right?
And then the dude still has a wand, and he's like,
I know you've got
he's
one
like,
in your pants, sir.
Oh, yeah, I forgot my dick
an
knife.
uncomfortably
dick
long
knife,
mantra
This is my dick knife.
My dick knife.
or montage. Montage.
There is a woman with big boobies singing a song, singing a ribald body song with hammered dulcimer and I guess bongos or something.
Dan, are you a boob man?
You know what?
You seem to always notice the buxom beauties.
I'm just reading what's on the page, man.
Sure you are.
But you know, if she
hey Nils, hi.
if she's a rival to Solutia, Nils, what's up? Good morning, you silly goose. It's night. I like big boobs, and I cannot lie.
Nice. I have a question about the Dark One's eyes and the roll of the dice. Do we think that it's called the Dark One's eyes for a reason? Like, and most men don't like it and don't think that that's a lucky roll, right? So I just kind of thought that was an interesting little thing, and maybe that means something. Like, maybe, like, does it have anything to do with the Dark One, or is it? I mean, I know it's just supposed to be a saying, but
I think it's ill luck, isn't it?
Like superstition, bad luck.
Yeah, it's ill luck, I believe.
Yeah, that's what he says, that most men don't like getting that roll. And he gets 12 of them in a row. He says most men thought the Dark One's eyes an unlucky toss.
Right.
Unlucky toss.
yes. Yes, exactly.
So
Okay,
this
drinking obligation real quick. Oh, sorry.
Yes, please, Tisharis.
Naram could have satisfied his mother,
Oh, dark.
right?
I think that's trending on Pornhub.
I know. I think so. Also,
It would be
his mouth
stepmother. It would be
fell
stepmother.
open. Yeah, stepmother. There you go.
That's I
It would be
assume.
stepmother. That is super kinky.
So-
His mouth fell open. You're welcome.
His mouth.
I'm done for now.
I have one in a couple pages though.
What brings up this newfound interest in drinking in the common people in Tuon? Do y'all think?
Oh,
No,
right.
I mean, this is common among royalty, where they go out in the world and they want to experience things that they never got to experience before. I mean, we see it in all the
he had
stories.
not noticed the
Typical
sort of-
Aladdin, right?
He had not noticed the sort of
Oh.
curiosity from her in Jurador, but she had been intent on finding silk in Jurador. Here, she seemed to be trying to memorize all she saw. All she saw.
Hmm.
It's like a distinctly different behavior pattern. He notices.
Mhm.
So it just made me
Yeah.
wonder, like, did something change for her? Like, why all of a sudden? We do hear her say in the previous chapter, like, oh, I want to see these cities. I want to see Tar-Valon. I want to see blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think that it's more calculated. I don't know exactly what it is, but I totally think you're right, Josh, that there's something else to it, at least. Like,
I mean, is she starting to feel that it's really going to work between her and Matt? Like, it's not just a dream; it's going to become a reality. Like, is she starting to believe that too?
Well, she may
She
even
says-
touch on this. Oh, go ahead, Josh.
In the previous chapter, quote, I will see Tar-Valon one day, Tuon said calmly in the middle of that. I shall probably make it my capital. I shall have you show me the city, Toy. Have you been there? You have been there.
Yeah, and she may touch on it a little bit later on in this chapter.
Okay, I don't recall, but
Oh my gosh,
What-
Dan, I love your poster. What is that? You got
Princess
a
Bride.
Princess Bride?
Doesn't it look like
What?
a cover
It's
of?
so good.
It
All right,
looks like
yeah.
a cover of an old Wheel of Time book.
It looks so amazing. I love it.
All right, so we've had this for a while. There's a
It's
lot of
signed, right?
signatures. There's like 12 signatures.
Yeah.
So
That's so cool.
there's Fred Savage. There's Rob Reiner. There's Peter Cook.
shit.
We got who's the guy who played?
You have Andre the Giant?
No, don't have him. We have Carrie Ellis. We
All
have Mandy Patinkin. We have Billy Crystal. Kel Kane.
Patinkin!
Yeah,
That's
Let's see.
amazing.
that's
Dan.
Mandy.
That's so
Mandy.
cool.
That's Mandy Patinkin right there.
Oh
Peter
my
Cook
god.
is right there. And that's, and Chris Sarandon, who is the prince, Humperdinck. He's right there.
Amazing.
All right, yeah.
Amazing.
So many good quotes from that movie.
Oh, so
Humperdinck. Yeah, I think that's the one movie I really do know by heart. Like I
love that movie
know
so much.
every word to that movie.
He's only mostly dead.
He's only mostly. Oh, look who's so
There's a
smart.
difference between mostly dead and all dead.
Yeah, I do love that quote of hers does imply that she expects to be with him for a while.
But
He doesn't pick up on that necessarily.
right,
But-
right.
I mean,
But
I guess she
Tom-
does say, "I'll make you my, X, Y, or Z type of slave." But
Well, Tom himself in this chapter wins a coin because
2 coins.
From this exact thing when he's like, she's more sheltered than you think, buddy. This bar is going to be just fine. Trust me. And yeah.
But she
Yeah,
does know. She's like, this isn't the kind of place I was promised.
I wanted fights.
Yeah, that's also interesting that she like really wants to see Matt specifically
I
like,
want
get
to
into a fight.
with Daddy.
Quote,
You
I
ready?
expected rougher garb on the patrons, Tuan said quietly, and perhaps a fight or two, but the song is too salacious for a respectable inn, though she is much too covered to sing it properly, in my opinion.
Mm.
Girls been to some strip clubs.
Precious says, hey, they're Dyson. You want to do that? He's like, Dyson? Call me a vacuum. Yoo-hoo! Come on. Come on. Come on.
What? I
guys.
missed it. What?
Never mind.
Sorry.
Well, hopefully I get one LMAO. Give me an LMAO.
Give it to me.
So he sits down. He's like, all right, time to play. All right, I think I know how to play this game.
Well, we do
I'll
learn
match
that
it.
Golem is still following them, too.
All right, we got this. Oh, we do have the golem. I think we got to suck it. Maybe that was, I don't know.
I think that was after they finished the dicing that they talked about that.
Yeah.
Wow. See, look at what they're doing. Oh gosh, guys, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Bella
so
plans.
I do think that the attempt on Matt's life with the merchant who leaves the table immediately upon him sitting down means that merchant's a dark friend
Yeah.
who's
I
been
would
passed
agree.
on the command, right? Because Matt's like, this doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense at the end of the chapter, but it took me a little while to like puzzle that out. Like, why did this person get up immediately? But it's because he recognized Matt and went to get
Yeah.
the dark friend.
So he was sent from the Forsaken.
Well, just
you know,
apparently
permission.
all of the dark friends have been notified through the chain of command to like watch out for Matt and
Yeah.
parent.
Oh,
The
I
guy.
did not get that.
It
That's
took me
why
a
he left.
while to puzzle that out. I was like, what?
I
Doesn't
totally
make
did
fucking
not
sense.
get that. I didn't understand why he didn't, like, why he left for sure,
Mhm.
but I did not puzzle that. Thank you. That's okay. Oh.
It was like 5 days after reading it. I was like, bing, oh.
Oh.
There
I
was
love the lyrics. It's a fun little ditty.
right.
That's
Right.
sung in the
Mhm.
thing.
She's
Chuan
liberated.
had ale for the first time.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And she's
And
like,
she took
Yeah,
sips, but
she
she took
loves it.
so many tiny sips that she was beating Matt. She was just sip, sip, sip. He's like, "You're supposed to gulp," but he didn't tell her.
supposed to quaff it.
Yeah,
Quaff and
yeah.
gulp.
Come on. Here's my Taishar quote: "Went stiff as a fence post."
Yes, Teshar. That I heard that one, and I haven't. There's so many I hear, and I don't like when I don't have my book, and I'm like, ah.
Right, right, right.
But that was a good one.
So he's kind of playing craps, right? He's you know, if the first roll is a 14, you win automatically. If it's not a 14, as the first roll was 4 5s, you got to get 4 5s again before you get 14, and you win. But on the first roll, if you roll a 14, then you win as well. It's kind of like how craps is, right? And he is just killing it. The gray dude with the pendulous bottom lip or something. Yeah. Hold on, I'm trying to find what I think it was pendulous. Anyways, he splits. And Matt is like, all right, I'm winning. This woman here is getting really suspicious.
Fake drunk and
Big
manipulating everything.
Yeah. Fake drunk. I love that Matt sees it though.
Mhm.
Like in just a millisecond, like he seems so oblivious to so many things, but then he notices this like slip
Nuance.
of
Mhm.
yeah. I just love Matt. He's like so much more complicated than he seems, you know? Like I think Twatcast said earlier, like he does the opposite, right? Of like what he says he's gonna do. He's like always complaining about everything, and then he ends up doing the thing he's complaining about, right?
Right. He buys the whole bar like rounds of drinks.
Right.
Because he's winning. He's like, oh yeah, hey, one last toss. Here's this, here's that, and
then he
like,
loses. I love it.
Oh, please lose.
And he hates Aes Sedai for that exact reason. Like he hates Moiraine for her doing shit exactly like that. You know, like not manipulating the situation per se, but that is how he feels about Moiraine. You know, and so it's funny because, like, again, he hates these things, right? Like that he sees in himself, and it's just so much more insightful than he was. I love Matt.
Well, and it also it is the lesson that sometimes a losing throw is a win. You know, you don't always have to hit 14 on the first throw every time for it to work out in your favor. Here, Taishar quote: "Mount everyone wherever." Wait, I'm sorry. Mount everyone whatever you pay him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a stretch.
All right, I've got one.
Okay.
She flickered the fingers of her left hand.
Okay.
Sorry, there's lots of finger flicking and wriggling in these chapters.
So they get up to go. Tuon has to use the restroom.
Yeah.
The necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the necessary toy. Have we ever seen someone actually go to the necessary in all these books yet? Is this our?
I think we've actually talked about this before. We never see eating, really, or peeing and pooping.
This is our first reference, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
I don't think so. We have.
Eating. We saw
We've seen
eating.
eating.
We have seen some, but not
We've
very
seen
much.
eating, but
Yeah.
like,
Not
yeah, there
much.
were a bunch of different like meals. I thought in Two Rivers, didn't we have
Yeah.
some
Oh, yeah, no.
meals?
Yeah, no, we've
Of
seen.
Food has been
Meals.
described, but we never see
Honey
people
cakes
actually
and-
eating.
Oh no,
Well,
Matt's
Nynaeve
like,
ate in Fires of Heaven. Didn't Nynaeve have that
we've
used
seen people
chopsticks for the first
eating.
time?
We've
Oh,
seen
yeah,
people
yeah,
eat like,
And they did eat some
avoiding
kind of
evils.
biscuit kind of thing. Oh yeah, that's true. The Weevils and the
The
Yeah, no, you're right.
those
You're
biscuits.
right.
the
Also,
honey
like
cakes.
Matt and
So-
Rand have like gotten to the point where they're like sitting in a kitchen, and next thing you know, I'm not that hungry, but they're like sopping up the last of the juice with their bread
Yeah.
and
the
stuff.
bread.
So I
I
think
guess it's
there's,
just been a little while.
but they never shit it out. They just absorb it
Yeah,
all.
right? They use every last bit. Well, if you don't hold it, you don't get all the nutrients.
If you don't, you don't get it.
I like this. I like this next part of the chapter because basically the girls go to the restroom and Tom's like talking to Matt. And he's like, Matt,
Go on.
I got some bad news and bad news. Which one do you want first?
Uh-huh,
Gotcha.
yeah. Bad news and worse news.
Yeah, there's what clowns to the left of us, jokers to the right.
Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
You can't.
Yeah, they're kind of screwed. Ahead of them is a Shanchan army, like at Murundi, I think it is, right?
Mhm.
Behind them is the Golem. Some dude got killed, got his throat ripped out, but there was hardly any blood. Sus much? Yep. Golem time. And they're like, well, shit. It was either that day or a day or two after they left, but it's right there. This Golem's still around.
Isn't that a pincher move where you like move your forces in from both sides against the enemy?
It is a pincher, yeah.
You
So
said
they-
Gollum time, and that only made me think of that really viral dance that was Gingham style or something.
Oh, Gangnam Style.
So I was thinking of camera time.
Do it Golem style. Boom, boom, boom.
Golem style.
Golem style.
Golem style. Boom, boom, boom.
All right.
kind of
Parody for next year.
I was about to say somebody needs to do a walk cover of that.
Right?
Do
Yes,
it Golem
do
style.
Style.
Pincer.
Sorry.
Not pincher, pincer. Thank you.
Pincer.
Pincer.
So Matt's like, cool. Hey, actually, that's pretty fucking cool that this Shanchan's army there, because we can just drop off Tuon and Seleucia. They can go with Luca. We go into the woods. He's like, no. They're looking for an imposter. The word is that some short, shaved head, dark colored, bald, empress-looking woman is an imposter, and they're going to bash her head in or cut her throat.
And this is because the Forsaken told what's her face to kill Tuon, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Sarath was informed by her Forsaken to kill Tuon
It
in this
says,
book.
quote, they mean to kill her when they find her, something about blurring out the shame she caused. End quote. So,
Okay. Question.
Sarath-
yes.
Why is Matt trying to drop her off if he knows he has to marry her? Like, is he trying to separate from her, or just get her to her people so they can stop saying that she's been kidnapped?
Well, he's always talked about returning her.
Right. And
That's
he also
confusing to
now
me.
knows that
Really
he needs
confusing.
to go like rescue Moraine though.
So maybe
Maybe
this
that
is
has something
a
to do with
temporary separation. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe. Maybe.
Mm.
Maybe he's like, I'll drop you off there. You'll be safe and or safer.
Mhm.
And then he can go because he has to go alone with Tom to go get Moraine.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
He's going to participate in that. So maybe that's his like, yeah. Maybe I don't. We shall see, I guess.
The Tom and Matt meet back up with Solution. Two on. They had a right and proper poop, and then they go out of the bar and get attacked by about 8 or 9 men with swords. Matt is a champion here. He's instantly 2 knives. Take out those 2. Run up. Just stab. Heart. Where's you? Heart. Oh, under your ribs. Oh, under your armpit. Oh, no. Oh, stab. You can't touch me. Oh, you're touching me a little bit. I'm bleeding, but stab. He ends up, there's a woman at the end. He's like, you should run away. Tuon's like, nope. Tuon like grabs her arm and karate chops. You heard like the Miss Piggy.
That was so good.
Crack of
That
the
was
throat.
totally misleading. Nice. That is spot on.
So what is this fight about? The fight is about how important it is for Tuon to be where she is. Where she like cuts into Seleucia with this finger gesture fight. Seleucia says, quote, "This plot could be dealt with easily if the High Lady were in Terrasen Palace where she belongs."
And then furious handshake.
All the coolness vanished from Tuon. Yeah.
And then Seleucia's like, oh shit, I crossed a line.
Yeah. What was the question, Josh?
Just what
were they arguing about?
What is it that triggers her in this comment? Is it whether Seleucia believes it's important for her to be where she is?
I thought that it was more so that she was saying it like in front of Matt kind of thing. Like she has any right to say what Tuon should and shouldn't do is how I interpreted it. But maybe that's, I don't know.
What do you think, Carrie? Did you have any thoughts about what was going on with Tuon and Seleucia during that thing?
Well, I feel like this fight has multiple layers and meanings. Mm-hmm. I mean, on the one hand, you have Matt taking out the dark friends that were sent by the Forsaken, but when you look at Matt and Tuon's relationship, I feel like this is a fork in the road. Like, it's a turning point for them and their relationship, and how when the fight's over, they now have deeper feelings towards each other.
They're crying. Yeah, they're teary-eyed over the whole thing.
And like, the whole name thing where they realized that they were playing the game and he calls her Tuon. I mean, I thought that was very, sentimental. So I guess their relationship is going to progress from here.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else in this chapter 11?
It was so funny that she just wanted to see him get in a fight, and she eventually got her wish.
Yeah, she got the knife fight she had hoped for.
And this is probably Matt's coolest fight. 1v8. And Tom helps and Seleucia helps as well.
Doesn't Tuon help as well?
He thinks she may have, but there's not a spot of blood on her. So,
right. Well, Seleucia is Tuon's bodyguard. I mean, that detail was given to us a long time ago. It's been kind of lost in the shuffle, but
it's her. So she's her voice and protector.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else with this Matt stuff? Because we're going on to Perrin next.
There was just one line that I thought was really funny. Right before they were in the common room of the inn, and then right before they went to go play the dice game, Tuon was talking to Matt, and Matt's like, "Yeah, I'm lucky sometimes." Like, it's just so funny,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and she picks up stuff pretty well, because Tom was like, "Hey, I'll take a win against the luckiest man in the world," and she says, "Hey, Tom Mantlin calls you the luckiest man in the world."
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That stood out to her. She's absorbing a lot of this stuff, not only about culture, but also about Matt Cawthon himself.
Oh yeah, she absolutely like does not miss a detail, right? Like about him that anybody says. She seems to pick it up and then refer to it, like at some other point, you know? Like she
Mhm,
really does like
mhm.
hold on to that information. I have one more Taishar.
Do it, baby.
She clutched her ruined throat and sagged to her knees.
Oh no!
Brutal.
Ah!
Sorry.
Um,
Oh no!
two little things. What do y'all make of this quote? I'm an old man, Tom said suddenly.
Yes.
And sometimes I imagine I see things that can't be. But luckily, I always forget them. So Lucia paused to look at them coolly. Lady's maid she might be, but blood seemed not to faze her at all. And what might you be trying to forget? I can't recall, Tom replied. So Lucia nodded and went back to examining his wounds.
Mm,
Thank you for bringing that up. I had that underlined.
nice.
Glazed over.
And then Tuon just kills the woman, like kill stroke through the breastbone.
She's like, it's a mercy I shouldn't give, but we don't have time to let her suffer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hardcore, man. So what does that quote mean? What did Tom gets really weird here?
He does.
Did you did that trigger anything to you, Carrie?
No, I mean, when people talk about missing memories or going blank, I always think of the snakes and foxes, but I don't know if Tom is connected to them.
Yeah.
I always think of Birgitta and presumably Noel, too, who are heroes of the North brought back, who are like forgetting their memories.
Right. Where is the horn right now? Like that's exactly what I took from it. So
isn't it in the 13th depository of the White Tower? I don't know.
Yeah, in fact, Perrin mentions it in this chapter 12. He says, yeah, Maureen took it to the White Tower, but I'm not telling them.
Right. So it is at the White Tower, right? Like that's sorry, yeah. Okay. I guess we're gonna get there.
It's hidden away somewhere.
Question written on this page, so I don't know why.
Well, no, that's a good question. Do other Aes Sedai know it's there? Does anyone know it's there? Anyone of consequence? Is it going to be like a Raiders of the Lost Ark thing that is just stuck in a warehouse somewhere?
I know, right? Jeez. But this definitely did make me think that that's like Tom was just experiencing some like memories of somebody else, like that he also has like memories of other past lives and is similar to Matt maybe in that way. You know?
I wonder.
He knows so much.
Could Lucia have threatened him? Like, I know you know that I'm a bodyguard now. Are you going to spill it? And Tom's like, oh, I've forgotten. So Lucia has a hidden role that we don't know about.
Could it be Ocean? Could it be trying to get him to...
Was it something that Tom may have learned during this fight that Matt didn't see? Yeah. Yeah, it's very. I'm an old
Matt
man.
kind of suspects it here too. He says, "So Lucia paused to look at him coolly. Lady's maid she might be, but blood seemed not to faze her at all." Right?
So maybe he's just like witnessing that in that moment and just going, I just want to forget this. I want to forget that I know this about you, that like I just figured out something, you know, like he just like realized something about her because blood doesn't faze her. And so he had some sort of like light bulb moment, but he does not want to obviously tell her that, you know, or admit to it. And so he's just like, nothing. I just something I want to forget. Like I forgot. I don't know, you know, like when you're just trying to elude somebody's
appease somebody's
appease somebody and just like get out of what you actually are thinking and trying to say.
It's a really weird line to say.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm old and I forget stuff that I think that I see that can't happen. She's all, what do you think you forgot? And he's like, I don't even remember. And she's like, you're goddamn right.
Yeah. Okay. So it probably is something in their interaction.
Hmm.
And she does have her secrets. Tom's also been trying to like put her cloak on her and like kind of make the moves, and she's like rejected him over and over again.
She's like, you have a dead wife, or whatever there.
All right, let's get 12 over with.
Chapter 12. It's called A Manufactory.
Perrin.
We got a Perrin Wolf icon.
Dovey's like, I'm fucking out of here.
Yeah, Devin's gone. She's like
honestly, I am right there with Dovey. In fact, I'll be right back.
In case it bounces. Well, I have a Tyshawn right off the front though, Kay.
I'm back.
All right, Tyshawn.
What's up?
Tyshawn, quote, head as he rode.
Nice. Excellent. I need to read.
Now
I need
bounce.
to get my
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay. So they are going to a town called Almazar. It's about 100 miles southwest of Amador. No wolves around. Reaches out, nothing. There are a bunch of tinker caravans going on. There's like 5 of them. And he's like, well, it's kind of a good thing I don't have Aram here, because Aram would. I don't think it'd go well.
But he also thinks that maybe Aram would be healed by spending some time with his people.
Right. Yeah, he does. Yeah. And it's interesting. I mean, how would these tinkers react if Perrin walked up with Aram with a big sword on his back?
Right.
Probably not cool.
I like how Perrin is explaining to the general about the culture of the Tinkers.
They were kind of talking shit on the Tinkers, and Perrin is all quiet, and he's like, they helped me twice, and they saved the Two Rivers. They
saved the Two Rivers children.
The children, they didn't need to do that, but they were going to do it. And they're like, oh, geez, now I'm sheepish. Thanks.
Mishima is like believing now in the Trollocs. He's like, I want to see one of these things. And Perrin's like, actually, you're gonna? And you won't like it.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
And the general's like, I see. He trusts him enough to trust his opinion, which I don't think we've really seen with like Tuon and Matt or like other Sanshin necessarily in West Ramlanders, right?
Right. I mean, and Josh, if there was like Dracula's, and I'm like, yeah, I've heard of Dracula's, vampires, Dracula's, but I'm not, but they're bullshit. And if someone's like, no, man, I've fought them like 10 times for real. Like I fought them. I would start thinking there's some Draculas around, man. I would start to change if there's someone who's like, you don't understand. I've friends of mine have died because of these things, because of Draculas.
Right.
I don't know. I got a Tyshar. Carlin had a habit of fingering. Oh, right on time.
Just in time. I know. I was like, what? What? I am ready.
So Perrin is hanging out with the Shanchin. He's not entirely uncomfortable with it anymore. He sees Rockin. He's like, hey, this van's a rockin'.
Yeah.
Don't come a knocking.
I love how Perrin's like, oh, Matt would be right at home with this lot, meaning the Sanshin. Who's he hanging out with? The Sanshin woman. And then he sees Matt riding off into the forest, followed by mounted folk and pack horses. So we know that this is concurrent. This is a little ahead of where we just left off.
Correct. And we've also seen that it looks like that they have left perhaps Val and Luca's.
Like they had planned.
Yeah. Let's see. So this is where where a guy explodes in Beatles.
Mm-hmm.
He was coughing a bit. He was like, he had COVID, and it turned into Beetle.
Curse.
This part was so gross.
It did remind me of, I don't remember, was it Men in Black? That there's that dead guy.
Yeah, that
like
beetle guy.
Yeah.
That bug guy. Yeah, you're right.
Also,
Ew, that's so
yeah,
gross.
yeah. It's,
My
and
skin zone.
yeah, exactly.
Like snaps it back into place.
No, brother. Yeah. So that's what it reminded me.
That's
of.
my impression.
That's a very good one.
Thank you.
That makes me laugh.
Before you talk about the Beatles, there's 3 other things I want to mention really quick.
Please, yes.
There's a line in here that I thought was funny. It says, "I think your life might make a story," the general said.
Oh yeah, this is really good.
"I'd rather my life was ordinary."
Right.
So that part was pretty funny.
Perry
then
has
it's been-
no sense of humor. He has no sense of humor. He's
He's
like,
the
boy, we
worst.
should write a book. He's like,
Oh.
I wish I didn't have a book life.
We learned that it's been 51 days since Vaiil was captured.
Mhm.
And before they entered the building, the farmhouse office area, I don't know what to call it, they saw one of the creatures plowing a field.
Drink.
The Sanchan creatures. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. Like they're farming there,
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
continue.
and in fact, they mention farming later when they're getting the fork root. There's mentions of farms and such. And the last week I wasn't here, but the Tinkers are kind of going to Abu Dar. They're like, yeah, we heard that there's kind of a sanctuary. These weirdos in bug costumes, all you got to do is give an oath, and there's equality, and no one's getting punched for being a hippie. Anyways, that's
getting punched.
for being a hippie.
Yeah.
This-
it does
this-
feel like a good theme.
So they're going on like recon missions, or not recon. They're getting supplies. They're going shopping. They're going to Costco. They get some. They get some Rockins. They get some flyers. They get 4 Rockins. They get 12 flyers. They're like
4 more, so
sweet.
they're up to 8. They're up to 8 racking.
They got 8 Rockin'. Then they go to the fork root store, and the fork root lady's like, I can't fill this order. And they're like, are you sure? And they wave the note, and she's like, oh, it'll take a day. Is that okay? And Perrin's like, I guess. Gall. Perrin, if you read Perrin like he's Napoleon Dynamite, you're not far off.
Right?
Yeah, but think about all the shit that's happened to Perrin
I guess.
compared
I'm
to
sorry.
Matt or Rand. I mean, the dude's borne some suffering.
How big is this rope that has 51 knots?
Ooh.
Small.
Where was that?
Small? You think it's tiny?
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's getting sizable.
I thought so too. I didn't think it was small, but I can't find the passage about it.
He said there's 51 knots. He's like, how many more? Light. I hope it's not more. Or something.
I mean, I'm sure it's not a big. It's probably like a piece of twine, not like a
But
mountaineering rope.
it's still a long piece.
50
51.
knots could fit like in this on a piece of twine.
It depends on how close they are together.
You know, just close together for counting.
Hold on, but he didn't start off thinking it was going to be 51. He thought, all right, I'll
I
get her in a
still think
week.
you tie them
So
close together.
So I'm thinking that there's bigger spaces in the early knots, and he's like, shit, I'm running out of string. and so it, like as it's getting closer, he's like the knots are getting way closer and smaller because he didn't plan ahead. Like his knots at
Podcast
top were
says
all
it's-
fucking big, and then he's like, "Oh
It's
shit!"
a best
oh, shit.
friend's bracelet.
He's also like tied another piece of string on. He's like, "That's a knot. I'm just adding a string." Yeah.
Just like Napoleon Dynamite, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, parent, give me some tots. No way, I'm starving.
Give me some tots. That's so funny. I like the smelled solidly of patience. Oh my
See,
god!
this
Matt
is-
Sager,
Matt
you sweetie
This is
pie.
where I come from too. I mean, he's been through some shit.
Someone kidnapped his wife. Can we cut him some slack for being
Oh,
worried? No parent. Hashtag no parent.
please.
No, I'm just. I wasn't hating on him. Matt
Aiel
Stagger.
can fend for herself.
I was
and
just
doesn't
talking
need
about
rescuing.
Look,
for
the
herself.
dude got used to being laid daily, and it's been 51 days since he's had sex.
Dude was not
right.
thinking he was
Oh.
tying 51 knots. That's what I'm saying. It's
Is he
probably
tying
a good.
51 knots with his balls?
that string
Because,
is like
like,
18
why is he so
24.
upset?
Yeah, with his balls. He's tying with his balls.
Just 51 knots with his testicles, and
So,
that's how he knows how many days it's been. It's like,
I-
wow, this is getting to be a lot.
Like
Okay, guys.
Ouch.
So, I thought this part was really funny when Perrin walks into that manufactory because I work in manufacturing and I just thought it was hilarious when he asked the lady, "Hey, how much finished product do you have?" And she's like, "Oh, the noonday cycle count of my
Right.
inventory shows that I have 4,873 pounds and 9 ounces. Oh, well, I'm going to need to take that all from you. What the hell?" Like, it was just so funny, like the
It is.
interaction.
And she's like, no. I have a very good system going on.
Bookkeeping and auditing is alive and well with the Sanshin.
They're rocking it. And in fact, like they
It's a
have
GMP,
like
it's a GMP
uniforms.
facility.
Like clerks even have their own uniforms and pins and stuff. They take pride.
So
Taishar. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, when she refuses initially to give him what he asked for, he kind of like goes outside of his comfort zone and says something about Suroth.
Mhm,
Those who disobey her will face death or something. I thought that was interesting.
mhm.
Yeah, it says, quote, and he was advised not to speak to the honorable. He was told just to talk to Tylan. And so he tells Tylan, he goes, quote, "This may not interest the honorable, of course, but Suroth promised death and worse if there was any hindrance to her plans. I don't suppose her anger will go beyond you and me, but she did say to take it all." And they're like, "Yeah, I burped on him." So, and she was like, "Oh, sir, you said Suroth? You didn't call her High Lady? You must either know her really well. You probably know her really well." Yeah, I'm gonna. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna fill this order. We have several Taishars though. Let me jump on these real fast. Quote: "The quick jerk of a woman." Quote:
Nice.
"Her mouth falling open as she stared." All right,
Yeah.
next. Quote: "The sleek woman was breathing hard." And quote: "Perrin fingered a broken button hanging by a thread." All right. Okay. So Perrin gets all the fork root and carts and people to do all the work. And she's like, Tylan's like, "That was bold. You are awesome." He is also thinking certain things because he gets to see a bitchin' map. And he's like, "Was this bitchin' map because I'm Taverin?"
Baron, mhm. The map he wasn't supposed to have.
The map wasn't supposed to be there, and it was like the best quality map he's ever seen. He's like, "Oh, this is so great." Taverin?
Thank you, Matt Sager.
Dick knife.
Dick
Yeah. Hashtag dick knife. Yeah, of course.
We know Matt's got one.
Dick knife. course he does, right? He does the little like hip thrust
Doubles
just
as
to
a
check
cock
that
ring.
one too. You know, like he shrugs his shoulders to check the one in the back of his coat, and there's a little
There goes his
Elvis thrust to check his
Okay,
dick
so is
length.
Matt the free baller?
For
Matt doesn't wear
sure.
underwear, right?
He does not need. Obviously not. He first of all, he doesn't need them. Second of all, like how, what, why, what? So many reasons. So many reasons. Also, he's just more like chill than that, right?
I
We
think
can all
when
agree
he
on
was
this.
wearing spout wool, he needed small clothes. Now that he's wearing silk a lot,
Just free balling.
yeah, maybe not.
Yeah.
Okay, so they leave the building, and then outside he gets shot with an arrow.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So they complete the order. He's like, "Cool, it'll take a day." Fine. They were riding out, and an arrow hits him, hits a horse, and hits him right in the shoulder. He turned at the last second. There were two men up on the building. They were found on the ground, but boy, there wasn't enough blood they must have been dead when they hit the ground. It looks like they poisoned themselves. Who would have done that? So, Josh, you had mentioned Forsaken. Is this what your thoughts are as well, Carrie? And
Yeah.
Kay? That
Our
this
friend
is the
hired-
work of a Forsaken? Go ahead.
Which part?
I mean, I don't have anything else really to say other than they were hired men from the Forsaken to do the job, and they failed, and they're scared of failure, so they killed themselves. I think.
Okay.
Failure's not an option.
Failure's not an option. Could it be someone else besides the Forsaken?
No.
Okay.
If it wasn't for the
Oh.
attack on Matt, maybe, but
Oh.
Well, during the attack, after the attack on Matt, the Tuon is speculating which of her siblings planned this. You think that she's misguided in that, correct?
Did we know
about
this arrow was the arrow pointed at Taryn? Do we know that for a fact? Like it wasn't pointed towards, like Tuon
Yeah,
wasn't
wasn't it supposed to kill him? Right.
It said it would have hit him in the heart if he hadn't turned.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it was meant to like kill him. So this could also mean that he just has an enemy somewhere else, right? Like it doesn't have to be a Forsaken. He could have.
The parent
made
even
an
calls
enemy
it.
somewhere.
You're right. They say you have a powerful
I
enemy.
mean-
Then again, they were always the Forsaken. Some of them had tried to kill him before. Others had tried to use him.
Oh.
He did not think he was going to bring the Forsaken into the discussion.
Yeah, and he does talk about like this is very like Massima, right?
Could have been Massima. Yeah, Massimo too. Massima.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is.
Is there anything else in this or any of these chapters that we missed or you wanted to touch on again?
We covered everything.
Okay. We are going to do 5 chapters next week. 13 through 17.
Are they small?
Nice.
They're smaller chapters.
13 through 17.
13 through 17. I'm going to write it down.
And it starts with Elaine, so but
Oh my gosh.
Lots of Elaine. Oh no.
I have an instant headache.
My babes!
I think I need to go take a bath now.
Right? I'm suddenly feeling really dirty and like I needed to have a very long bath. Maybe
I
a
like
whole
that.
chapter's worth. You're funny. He's probably wearing small clothes. Nice. Yeah. I don't think Matt has underwear. This just doesn't make sense to me why he would have underwear. So yeah.
He's free.
I like to think that there's like Fruit of the Looms and he's wearing like Archer Hawkwing Fruit of the Looms.
Well, they better be cutting him a nice royalty check. Yeah, right? He should make like specific Watt themed Fruit of the Loom panties.
Panties.
Just for men.
That
Panties
says,
for men.
Pantalones.
Well, I mean, Kay, how would
Yeah,
you
there you
feel
go.
about boxers that said, "I'm no bloody hero," or
Weird.
said,
I feel
"Time
weird
to roll
about
the
that.
dice"?
Roll time to roll the dice.
Dark one's eyes.
The dark one's
Dark one's eyes. The dark one's taint.
There you go.
Beware of the dark one's taint. Boxers that say that, I'm good with.
Stricken with the dark one's taint.
Yes.
Ruby hilted
Oh.
dagger.
Ruby
Right?
Hilton Dagger.
That's great. Ruby
really good.
hilted dagger. Oh my god. I just made a spread shop actually, and I've been fucking around with different things on Canva, and it's been so much fun. So
Oh.
I'm totally gonna make these.
Pearl
Put
handed.
them up on the
Well,
shop.
make sure you
It'll be
post
so much fun.
your creation stuff on our Discord. And speaking of our
I
Discord,
will.
I think, are you guys hanging out afterwards?
Yes.
I
I'm there
drove
now.
from Washington D.C. to home today.
Oh,
so
no, you
I am
go,
going
Dan.
to bed. But yeah. So
Understand.
we will be here next week doing 5 chapters. We'll also be here Sunday doing Tavern Talk, where we're talking spoiler-filled stuff. And
Yeah.
we've been having some good. Last show was awesome. So
I know, but I'm sad I couldn't watch it.
actually, you could have. You could have. We did not
Really?
talk about. I don't think we talked about anything past where we are at now.
You're kidding me.
We were talking about Matt's luck, and I think it's all. I think you're good.
Safe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also,
We
I'll
have boxing. Ruby hilted dagger. I'm making these and I'm gonna post it on Discord. I'm so excited. Fun shit. Okay.
All right, so we
Love you
will
guys.
see you in a week, or we'll see you on Sunday. I love you and I'm proud of you. Be
Bye, guys.
good. You know what? Use your blinkers, guys.
Yeah. For
Use your
fuck's
blinkers.
sake.
Make the world a better place. And as Ryan would say, run for your lives. This is the way of the league.
of the loot.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.